Hi everybody, welcome back to the next in my series of Updated for 2024 Beginner's Guides to Modding PC DayZ community servers. And in this video I'm going to be going through a load of really useful resources that will make your modding journey much more simple and easier. But before we get started, just want to remind you that in the description below this video, not only will there be the links to all the resources that I'm talking about, but also the links to this playlist that has all of these updated for 2024 PC community server DayZ tutorial videos, so you can pick and choose which ones you want to watch. Also, there will be a next video link and a previous video link if you want to kind of work through them in some sort of, I've tried to record them in some sort of logical order. And you'll also find a link to my console version of these videos as well, where lots of the stuff is similar, but maybe if you're watching this and you're on a console, maybe flip over and watch those videos. Or sometimes I explain things differently in these videos, so I might be approaching the same subject and you might watch one and think, oh, Rob didn't really explain that very well, and you watch the other version of it and maybe I'll explain it a little bit better for you. Anyway, let's get started with the first tool that you want to have, and that is Notepad++. This is a free version of a text editor. In fact, let's jump into this, and as you can see here, it's all nice and colourful. And the big advantage of this is, among other things, is the fact that if you make a mistake, often it's easier to see because the colours will change of the surrounding code. Doesn't mean you'll see everything, but there's a chance you might be able to see things. It also makes it easier to pick out certain parts of code as you're working through, and is generally a powerful tool. You're going to use lots of other different aspects to it as well, but Notepad++, definitely recommended. Grab that. FileZilla. This is a free FTP file transfer protocol program. So when you get into the bits of the video where we're going to be uploading mods from our local computer to our remote server in the cloud, these are big files, and you can't just go into your web browser and upload them via the, for example, Nitrado website. The files are too big. They can be gigabytes long. So you have to use FTP. FileZilla is free, it's easy to use, go for it and grab it. Now, when we're editing files, so when we're editing .xml files, like types.xml file, the server file that goes through and tells your server how much of each item to spawn in, it's very easy to make a mistake. Again, we'll be going through and be editing in Notepad++, and we'll forget to copy and paste the particular bracket or something like that. What you can do is, once you're finished, if you go to xmlvalidation.com, you can upload the file and it will check it for syntax, basically the spelling of the file. Have you done your punctuation right on the file? And if it can find a mistake, it'll tell you. So it will say, look, I found a mistake at this particular point. However, do remember that most of the time, finding the mistake, or xmlvalidation.com finding the mistake, is only the beginning. Because just because it's found a mistake in a particular place doesn't mean the actual mistake is there. The actual mistake could be further up the code. What I mean is, for example, say we got rid of and accidentally deleted like a closing bracket on an argument like that. It could be that the XML validator doesn't find the error until another opening bracket, which it wasn't expecting to see. So that's where you get cascading errors. So watch out for that, but it's something you should definitely do. If anything, it just means that you'll know there's a problem with the file and you shouldn't proceed until you've corrected it. We have XML files on our servers, but we also have JSON files with the JSON formatter and validator at jsonformatter.curiousconcept.com. Definitely have a look at this one. Be careful, however, when you're browsing or copying and pasting your code into here. I tend to browse and upload it. Watch out for this thing on the right, fixed JSON, because sometimes you'll process something and then it will say fixed, but obviously it's the box that you'll find underneath that is fixed, and that means you've still got to upload that code to your server before you use it. So the JSON formatter and validator and the XML validator should be in your bookmarks, ready to use in your browser. DayZ Boosters, or DayZboosters.com. Great tool. We're going to be using this in the tutorials going forward to create boosted loot types files. And there's also lots of different tools that this can use as well. So if you can imagine, when we're going to increase the loot on our server, if you think about how many different items there are in DayZ, there's loads, isn't there? When you really get into it, you go through it by hand, line by line. But that can be a little bit long-winded, and it can definitely take the wind out of your sails. Well, you can use something like DayZ Boosters and say, give me twice as much guns, and that will do it for you. So make sure you have that bookmarked. The iZurvive map, if you haven't come across this already, very, very useful tool. They have all the Cherna, Slavonia, Enoch custom maps as well. So this is a great tool for getting coordinates. So you can put your cursor somewhere, Control-C, and a copy to the clipboard. You can also go in and you can see the official names of buildings as well. So if, for example, I click on that and we scroll up a bit, you can see that at that particular place, that is called a land_shed_W2. Tells you what tier it's in and what the usage are in the categories. Again, might not mean that much to you now, but can come in handy, especially when you're going to be using DayZ Editor to create custom structures. And you might think, oh, you know that police station. What's the name of that police station? You can come here and you go, okay, so it's land_village_police station. You can find that in the DayZ Editor mod and then spawn that building in. And you'll find loads of other uses for the iZurvive maps as well. It really is absolutely fantastic. Bohemia Interactive's official GitHub repository. So this repository contains the vanilla code or the mission files for your server. This is important because if you've made a mistake and need the original types.xml or the original events.xml because you haven't made a backup, this is where you can come and get them. So what I tend to do, every time there's an update, I have a DayZ modding folder on my PC, and I'll download, so it'll be DayZ 1.25, so I download the whole thing. So you click on code, download zip, extract it on your local computer, put it in DayZ 1.25 vanilla or whatever update it tends to be at this particular time, and you've always got those files ready as a backup just in case you make a mistake. You go to validate a file and it won't validate and you can't find the error. You can always come back to vanilla. And a good best practice is with your server, when you're using it, if you do seem to be having a problem and something's not working, go back to vanilla. Get stuff working again, especially if you've already got people on that server who are playing on it. Go back to vanilla. At least the server will be working in terms of things are spawning in and infected are spawning in and all that sort of stuff. And then you can start working on your custom stuff as well. So, very good resource that. The DayZ forums, really important. You can go here, read the latest news and announcements, the patch notes, so you know when new things have been announced. You can go and ask this questions as well about particular things. Google search, to be honest, is a good thing, and that sometimes will take you to the forums. And YouTube search you can use as well to look up. I know I've done lots and lots of tutorials about stuff, so feel free to search and find things that way. Other YouTubes you can look at, Don Sibley. I think you have to pay to look at his stuff now, but he is the godfather of console modding. It's where most of the console models where we started, and we got the ideas off Don, and he's done a lot of legwork finding out things, and he's also a bit of a coder as well, so he's done some very impressive things. For example, Winter DayZ console snow maps are finally here. I'll let you into a little secret actually about Don's stuff, which I don't know, he won't mind me telling you though. Although the map, the actual video itself, you might not be able to get in and see the video, very kindly, the description is still readable. So if you need the files, they're all just underneath in the description, so you can grab them from there. And then if you can work it out for yourself how to use them. But, drop him a couple of bucks a month and you can watch the videos as well. Highly worth it. King Alabar is another guy. There's dozens more, and apologies for anybody who's in the community who I'm not mentioning here. But again, the old YouTube search is really good. Just make sure that when you do YouTube searches and you're finding the videos, look at the dates of when they were made. I personally have been making videos about DayZ modding for console and then PC for the last several years. and there's ones that go back sort of to 2014, not from me but from other people, and you'll hear this bandied around, pre-update 0.63, and before update 0.63 DayZ was a very different game. And that's why you'll often see references in older videos to DayZ Standalone, and you think, what are they talking about DayZ Standalone? There's only DayZ, isn't there? Well, there used to be. DayZ originally was a mod for Arma 2, which was it's like a military sort of simulator kind of sandbox type of game. Very good, but a long time ago. And then the DayZ mod was created for Arma 2. And that sold millions of copies of Arma 2, and then Bohemia Interactive, who own DayZ now and Arma at the time, bought the DayZ mod with Dean Hall, and then they created DayZ Standalone. So for quite a while, the two sort of versions of DayZ were running in parallel. You had the DayZ mod, and you had DayZ Standalone. And at 0.63, that's where, I think it's 0.63 anyway, or 0.62, DayZ Standalone switched to a different engine, kind of roughly equivalent to what we have now, and made it very, very different. So the point I'm trying to make here by going around the houses is the fact that the further in time you go back with videos, there's always a chance something has changed. Even now, in the last year there's been changes, and often you'll get things in the code that will change. So for example, whether something is yes, no, or true or false, in the past may well have been, it might have been, can you see the map? And it might have been true, or it might have been 0, or it might have been yes, or something like that. And these sometimes change. And also features change. For example, if you watch one of my older videos about what you can do on console DayZ, you'll see that I said, well, we can't change the fresh player spawn loadouts. But now we can. So things change. So just be aware. Take with a pinch of salt anything that is old, because things might have changed. Now here we go. So this is one of the most important resources as a PC community server modder you will use, which is having a local server running on your PC. So you'll know that the way that DayZ works is that you have DayZ.exe, if you like, on your computer, and you connect to a server in the cloud somewhere. Maybe it's an official server run by Bohemia Interactive, or it's a community server run by someone else, and that's the way you do stuff. And when you have your own community server, it's your community server, but it's in the cloud. It's a long way away. It's on a computer in a rack in a data center somewhere. You, with the free tools that you get when you buy DayZ on PC, you can run a local server on your local PC. So you fire that up, and that means you can play single player DayZ, which is pretty cool. It's difficult to make it multiplayer because of the firewalls and the routers in your house, so you're not getting it for that. But most importantly, you use it to practice installing mods, whether that be Steam Workshop mods or whether it be XML and JSON mods. And it allows you to see if things work before you upload them to the cloud, because it's much quicker to work on your local PC than it is in the cloud. If you imagine in the cloud we're uploading these mods, and then we've got to log in, we've got to see if it works and all that sort of stuff. When it's on your local PC, you can just fire it up and get it running. So that link in the description below the video is a tutorial how to set up your own local server. And then if you do a search, I've done videos on how to add mods. To give you an idea, for example, this is my local server, so you can see we've got all these mods that I can play to test and make videos about. These are all the .bat files, or the start files, that tell the server which mods it should start with when it fires up. And then we've also got various server dz.config files. These are the files that tell the server which map to start off with as well. And as you get used to this and you create more different batch files, it makes it very, very easy to quickly test mods for updates, and just get much more familiar with the process and seeing how things work, rather than trying to work remotely, which takes longer and can be a lot more frustrating. Because one of the things that happens with DayZ is every couple of months we get an update from the devs. So the DayZ.exe, if you like, and the DayZ server.exe change, which means that mods break, and which means you have to update your files. and so having a local server that you can work on is definitely a bonus. The Steam Workshop. So whenever you're installing mods, this is Dr. Jones' workshop, for example, being looked after by Helkiana MDC at the moment. Dr. Jones just kind of stepped back a little bit. There'll always, most of the time, there will be good instructions on how to install the mod. So if you ever get stuck and something doesn't work, always go back to the Steam Workshop page and reread it just to see, if you've missed anything out or done something wrong. Also, you'll often find links to things like their Discord. So there's Helkiana's Discord, or the Enfusion's Modders Support Discord, or they'll have a GitHub or something like that where you can go and you can look for help and ask for help, and you can search. Also, what you'll find is sometimes you'll have change notes which can tell you about things that have changed, but often you'll have the discussion, and the discussions are very, very important, because if you're having trouble with a mod and you're not sure why, you seem to have done everything right, go and have a look at the discussion on the Steam Workshop or in their Discord and see if lots of other people are having the same problem, because it could be that something's been updated and the mod itself has now broken, and it doesn't matter what you do until the modder updates it, that mod isn't going to work and you'll be able to use it. While we're on the subject of Discords, Discord is incredibly important. So install Discord, obviously, it's like a sort of big text chat sort of client, and join the various ones. For example, this is a Discord for DayZ expansion, but when you do join these Discords, make use of the search box. So don't just jump into the chat and say, how do you do this? Because it's probably been asked by 1,000 people. Search for the answer first. See if somebody's already answered it before you ask questions. Balshad's Discord is really cool. I'll put a link to that in the description below the video, especially for the XML and JSON side of things. There's absolutely fantastic resource there. And I guess finally, the final kind of best practice I'm going to talk about here is your server itself. Remember to stop your server when you're making any changes. Remember to make a backup of any files that you change, and then remember to validate them before you upload them and test them again. But also, most importantly, keep things simple, especially to start off with. It's very tempting to hit the Steam Workshop, and you'll see all these amazing mods, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff that I could install on my server, and you'll end up with dozens and dozens of mods that you'll want to put on, and they probably won't work, or some of them won't work. And when you've got lots of mods and your server doesn't work, it's really difficult to figure out what went wrong and how do you fault find things. Start off really, really small. Start off with something like, and you'll see when we'll have tutorial videos about this, start off with an admin tool, so that you can spawn in and teleport around the map and spawn in items and get used to that. And then just add a few mods like Trader, Red Falcon's Flight Systems Helis, DayZ Dogs, that thing. So just have a handful of mods and get your server working. And what I would say is, as you're installing the mods, this is the way I do it. I'll get my admin mod working first, then I'll add the more complicated things. And I'll add them one at a time. So I'll add Red Falcon Flight Systems Helis, go in and I'll be doing this all on my local server. Does it work? Yes. Right. Put it on the remote server. Test, go to the remote server. Does it work? Yes. Great. Okay. Add in DayZ Dog on the local server. Does it work? Yes. Okay. Take it to the remote server. Does it work? Yes. And then if all of a sudden you get, oh, wait a minute, the server's stopped working now. Okay, so let's roll back. Let's take that mod off. Okay, we've taken that mod off. Does it work? Oh, it's working again. Okay, so there's something about that one particular mod. And you might find out why, or you might never find out why, but you know that that mod isn't going to work with a particular combination of other mods that you've got on your server. And by keeping it simple, you're going to have a lot less frustration. You're going to be able to find these problems much, much quicker, and you're going to enjoy owning your server as well. Because remember when I said about updates, all of these mods that you see on the Steam Workshop, they're all made by people, sometimes one person, and they've all got busy lives doing other things. So when the DayZ devs drop this update that breaks their mod, or breaks a mod that is a dependency, so another mod they use to make their mod work, they've got to have the time to go in and find out and try and fix it and work that way. And so often, when after there's been an update or even in between, you've got to take mods off because they simply stop working. Woo! So there we go. So the links to hopefully all of this stuff will be in the description below this video. Bookmark all the relevant ones, download Notepad++, download FileZilla, and they will all be ready for when you're ready to really start modding in the tutorial videos that are coming up over the next few weeks. Okay, so hopefully that's been useful. If it has been, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I'll see you again soon.